thanks to the supporters of channel member Grant Charman. Right, Premier League clubs, this is a message specifically for you. Please back off, leave my players alone. So far, this January transfer window, we've had Spurs unsettle Suarez and Schikowski. Man City have unsettled Van EIJMA. We've had youngster Schumacher actually join Arsenal. The Premier League are raiding us. We're kind of fending them off at the moment, but it's troubling times. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 25 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final two Champions League games, not group games anymore, against Lyon and Rangers. Since you were last with me, we have continued to win football matches. 4 wins in Bundesliga since the last episode. We're still only 1 point clear of Bayern Munich, who are just as relentless as we are at the moment. When do we play them again? It must be relatively soon. That's almost going to be worth showing in a video. We might end up showing an actual Bundesliga game because we beat them 8-0 earlier in the year, but they are like neck and neck with us. They are rejuvenated since then. And there's an actual title race this year. We were well clear by this point last year, and this year we are not. But as mentioned, transfers. Problematic. As you can see, we've got Ayadeli, Schikowski, Van EIJMA, Suarez, Fontenils, all want to leave to play in a better division. That better division is the Premier League. We've also got Bellingham, who doesn't like squad rotation. We've got Sejudo, who wants to go out on loan for more playing time and is probably going to Manchester United in the Premier League, and Cessped also wanting to start more games. But it's problematic. We've dealt with it two different ways. With Schikowski, we've agreed a fee of 96 million. Spurs haven't gone near it. They then came back in for Suarez. We agreed a fee with him of 108 million, which wouldn't actually even be a particularly big profit. That would be a disaster. But they also weren't interested in that. Van EIJMA, because it was Man City and I was afraid, rather than agreeing a fee with him, we've promised him he can go in the summer if we don't win the Champions League. So if we don't win the Champions League this year, Stallone Van EIJMA will be leaving and we'll be without the best young midfield player in the world. So no pressure, but we really have to win the Champions League this year. In addition to those players trying to leave, we also have other players who've actually left. Our young third choice goalkeeper has gone out on loan for the season. The Nick Jonas brothers have both gone out on loan as well. I know they're homegrown at club, which is very handy for Champions League, but ultimately they weren't playing at all for us, so they may as well go out on loan and get game time. Van EIJMA becomes homegrown at club in summer. I think Hiskey does as well. And Vic Schumacher, as mentioned, has joined Arsenal on loan with a guaranteed future fee. We signed him for 22 million, never really used him, and he's joining Arsenal for roughly 40 million. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Mandatory future fee, 42 million pounds. So that's not too bad, I don't think. Double your money in 2 years without really playing the player. We've also signed a young player. Cesar Marin is a Mexican international midfield player. He can play anywhere up the middle of the pitch, defensive midfield, all the way up to centre forward. He's a natural central midfielder. He's got 4 goals in 8 caps for Mexico already. He's only cost us 7.75k from Pachuca in Mexico. Look at his goal scoring record as a midfielder. Look at his, he's averaging a goal contribution a game pretty much throughout his career. He's averaging a 7.39 throughout his career. I know it's all been in Mexico so far, that he looks like he's a bit special, and he's the reason why I'm quite happy to let Sejudo go to Manchester United on loan, because I think he's probably done. Hasanbegovic was going to join Sheffield United on loan. He says he rejected it. What he actually did was break his delicate little knee, and that's why the deal fell through. So he's stuck here for at least another year while we piece his knee back together. He's played 54 times for Bosnia by 21 years old. Would he have become homegrown at club? No, he wouldn't. So no reason to keep him once he does recover. So this is the team for the game against Lyon. Lyon are 8th in Ligue 1. So this should be a relatively comfortable win in the Champions League group or league or whatever it's called. They are 19th. So they need a result of some kind just to avoid getting knocked out in these early rounds. Porto, Torino, Bayern Munich, look down there, only on 2 points, all looking very precarious. But we're already qualified for the knockout rounds, and we're now trying to secure a top 8 spot, which avoids us the playoffs. And I think a win here does exactly that. So let's go and try and pick up a win. This is the team: Antonio Carlos in goal, a back four of Gray, Suarez, Caldere and Schikowski. Van EIJMA at the base of the midfield, Bellingham and Ruiz ahead of him. Emil Hiskey, Herrera and Big Kev are the front three. Big Kev, by the way, finished 3rd in the World Player of the Year voting. Van EIJMA has won European Golden Boy. Bellingham once again has won England Player of the Year. Antonio Carlos, Goalkeeper of the Year. All these awards. Antonio Carlos and Big Kev both made it into the World 11 for the year. Big Kev, the only striker in the World 11. We have got the best striker in the world, and his name is Kev. I love every part of it. What a hero that man is. Right, let's take the lead. Let's have Big Kev show the world what he can do. Because I mean, I would say largely the reason he has got into that Dream 11 and all that kind of stuff is because of his outstanding performance in the Champions League last year. Top scorer in the tournament, best striker in the tournament last year. Let's see if he can do it again this year. Bellingham has opened the scoring though. 1-0, 10 minutes on the clock, and hopefully the first of many. We've had some really, really big wins off camera in the last couple of seasons. I'd really like one to happen in a video just so you can see us at our absolutely glorious free scoring attacking best. I keep referencing back to that 8-0 win over Bayern Munich. If we could just pop 10 goals past a team in the Champions League, I think that sends quite the message. That's what we're looking to do today. Forget just winning. We want to win with style. And with 14 minutes gone, we're already 2-0 up. Bruno Herrera grabbing his 5th goal of the season, did that say? Set piece coach earning his corn today. Look at him. Lovely old stuff. Bellingham just plays it out to Herrera, and 2-0. Lovely, lovely, lovely. It's another highlight. This is very different from the previous episode where we had those 2 away games against tough opposition in the Champions League where there was barely a highlight. This is going to be a goal fest today. Hiskey has got him behind now, goes past his man, tries to go it alone. It would have been easier to square it for Big Kev, but when you're 2-0 up this early in the game and playing as well as we are, forget easier. Try and score a goal. And Van EIJMA just absolutely running things at the base of the midfield. He is, I think at this point, the best midfielder I've ever had in Football Manager. Certainly as a new gen. Those of you who've been around for a few years will of course remember Mattia Vermonti, who was part of the non-league to legend save a few years ago, where he went from club to club to club with us. I think we had him at Spurs, Barcelona. No, was it Spurs, Real Madrid that year? I think we went Spurs, Real Madrid. Then we did check in with Dortmund, and then he came with us to Manchester United as well to end the save off. So he had 4 clubs that year, and I thought in my personal all-time best 11, I figured Vermonti was nailed on in that holding midfield position for life, but Van EIJMA is something else, and I suspect as his career goes on, he will end up moving further forward. And I think he's probably the natural successor to Bellingham in this role for us. But at the moment, he just absolutely runs the game as a ball-winning midfielder as well. It's a role where he shouldn't really be just dictating the game the way he is. Bellingham's supposed to be our playmaker. But if you actually watch us play, Van EIJMA's just running the show. And with that ball-winning midfielder instruction, it means he's not only running the show, he's running the show and he's all over the pitch. If we had him as that playmaker role, he would tend to stay a little bit more central. That's what he was doing when he was playing that role for us previously. Being the ball-winning midfielder, he pops up anywhere, tackling, but then not just tackling, getting the counter-attacks up and running, getting himself assists. He has been, I mean, look at him. I know, so the attribute merchants, look at that man. Tell me he's not the best 20-year-old defensive midfielder you've ever seen in all your years playing Football Manager. He is. He's the best one. Imagine how good he's going to be in 6 or 7 seasons' time when he starts to get towards his prime. He is going to be absolutely incredible. The Netherlands will win the World Cup, because of him. We'll put that as a prediction out there for you. He's that good. He will single-handedly grab the Netherlands by the scruff of the neck and lead them to a World Cup, because how could that man not win a World Cup? Right, Gray on the left-hand side. He's a new man since we had him at Burton. The player we've got now with Colin Gray is the player I hoped I was signing at Burton, and he wasn't quite there yet. But goodness me, has he turned into that player since he's been with us this year. And Big Kev, second of the game for him. It's now 5-0. And I told you, it's going to be a goal fest today. We're playing Rangers next. If you think this is a goal fest. I'm managing East Fife on Twitch at the moment. I assume you've been keeping up with the Twitch save, either on Twitch. You can watch live on Twitch or TikTok. We stream it all live on TikTok as well. If you're not following me on TikTok yet, you're missing out. But also the highlights, of course, are on LOLLUJO 2 every morning as well. So I assume you're up to date with the East Fife save. But with East Fife, we've got something of a reputation for being able to beat Rangers. We are very much Rangers is his bogey team. And I, as a man who knows how to beat Rangers, I'm expecting a large quantity of goals in this game against Rangers that's going to be coming up. Hiskey, by the way, 1 goal, 3 assists today. He's on a perfect 10. He's having a very nice afternoon. Ruiz what's he doing? Let's get him off. Ilunga's going to come on. If you're going to play that poorly in a game like this, you're not staying on the pitch. Herrera is also going to come off for Oliveira. And I think in these circumstances, we can take off Van EIJMA and give him a little bit of a rest. I'm tempted, actually, to have a look at Cesar Marin, the new boy. He's not really a defensive midfielder. But, I mean, I think just to give him some game time, we can bring him on there, can't we? He probably can't play as a ball-winning midfielder. I mean, you know what? We'll do this. We'll make him the deep-lying playmaker. And then we'll release Bellingham, and Ilunga can play just a little bit deeper. We'll do that just to keep a little bit of balance in that central midfield. And we've got 3 young players coming on there for game time in a game that we're having a very nice time in. Oliveira has been playing and scoring for Brazil as well. So it shows how good he is and how good our strength in depth is. He struggles to get game time off our bench, and he's there scoring for Brazil. Right, we are going to take off Gray as one of the unreplaceable boys that we've got. Fontanills can just come on and carry on playing in that inverted wing-back role that Gray was already doing. Fontanills does that role quite well as well. And then I think for the final change, we're going to bring on Velletti for Schikowski at right back. And hopefully grab another goal. We've got a lot of the youngsters, a lot of the fringe players on today. Now it would be nice for a couple of them to weigh in with a couple of late goals. Oliveira, Ilunga, I have high hopes for them. They're the next group of players coming through who are going to have to replace the players that are apparently all going to be heading to the Premier League over the next few years, because no matter how well we do, the players all want to head to the Premier League. Big Kev doesn't know. Big Kev's quite happy to be here as a hero at Dortmund. That's his hat-trick today. He loves playing in the Champions League. He's celebrating on his own, and he just doesn't care. Big Kev is a hero, and it is Ilunga, I think, who picked up the assist as well. Decent through ball. Big Kev, lovely finish from him. 3-0. Sorry, 6-0. 3 for him, 6-0. And that puts us level with Liverpool and Sporting at the top of the Champions League stage. And also, I think, secures us a top 8 spot as well. So we can play a more rotated side against Rangers and show you some of these younger players, some of these fringy players with a little bit of an extended run out, which will be quite nice as well, because obviously you don't get to see very much of them. I get to see them all the time in the Bundesliga, but some of these boys you've not spent a lot of time getting to know, and it's time you got to know them. They're really very good. We're having a nice season. Let's go play Rangers. Well, we've made it to the end of the transfer window. Not a huge amount more business was done. We did send Sejudo on loan to Manchester United for the rest of the season, so he's gone there. You already know about Cesar Marin coming in, the only other guy we've signed. Vladar Markovic. I think really this is another one similar to the Schumacher deal. We're bringing him with a view to selling him on at a profit rather than ever playing him. £4.4 million. He's got loads of potential and quite a high price range, but at 20 years old, I suspect he's never actually going to be good enough. He's older than Van EIJMA and has played 5 games in his career, never even played internationally for Serbia. So he's the kind of guy who, give him a year, send him out on a loan or two, and we'll be selling him for 20, 25 million pounds and just pocketing the difference. But that's the only other business that's been done so far. Although Valetti, he came to me with 4 hours of the window left to go, asking to go out on loan. So he's not been able to go to a German club. He might be on his way to West Ham, though, just because he wants to go out and get some game time somewhere. I think the English transfer window ends a little later than ours, but we've still got a long list of players who want to go and play at a better division. But Valetti is the only other one who wants to leave for game time, I think. So he can go and get some game time. All of which brings us to the game against Rangers in the Champions League, which is on deadline day. Much more civilised in Germany. Deadline day ends at 5 p.m. So if you've got an evening game, the transfers are done before the evening game. In England, with it closing at 11, deadline day and matches happening at the same time is an absolute nightmare. But as promised, we're going to rotate and show you some of the more fringe players in this match. So Pilipovic is going to be in goal. Valetti, despite the fact he's actively in negotiations with West Ham and presumably also needs to be on a plane there to get his paperwork done, he's going to play. Why not? He can start at left back with Fontanils and Garcia, with Ferreira playing as an out-and-out right back. Valetti will tuck in and make a 3 with these guys. Weirdly, these two are left-footed. Valetti's a right-footer, and we'll be playing on the left of the other two in that back 3. It's fine. There's definitely logic to it. We could just as easily push either of them out to left back and play Valetti at centre back, but he's a natural left back, so we'll play him in his natural left back position. Ayadeli at the base of the midfield, with new boy Marin alongside Ilunga in centre mid. Cesped, who is aching for game time, on the left. Oliveira on the right, and Connor Egan gets to start up front. He's not exactly a fringe player, but our fringe striker's gone out on loan to Arsenal and isn't ever coming back. He's joining them permanently. So Big Kev, of course, put in a big performance in the previous match. So Connor Egan with the chance to do likewise in this one against Rangers. It'll be interesting to see if the game punishes me for not taking Rangers seriously by putting the reserves out against them. Oh my word. Pilipovic nearly caught out there with the shot from range. And if that had gone in, then it would have definitely been a sign that the game is going to punish us for not taking them seriously. But we've I was going to say we've dealt with this corner. We haven't. We're trying to deal with this corner, but it is now an offside for Rangers. And a little bit of an early warning in this match that maybe they're not going to be complete pushovers. Although, to be fair, looking at that 11, it's definitely good enough to beat them. I mean, there's players in there who, in the last 2 years, have been regular starters for us, the likes of Garcia, Ayadeli, Egan, and then you've got Ferreira was a regular starter for a full season as well. Pilipovic, formerly the best goalkeeper in the Bundesliga. Fontanils is great, came in from Barcelona. Valetti's off to West Ham, who you would think are better than Rangers. Marin is the one big question mark because we've never really seen him play before, other than that brief substitute appearance in the previous match. But he's got Ilunga alongside him, who's looked very good every time he's played this year. And Cesped came from Ajax. Oliveira is playing for Brazil. So they're all pretty good. But it is still 0-0, less than 10 minutes until half-time. And I suspect our fans are starting to get a little bit frustrated by everything at the moment. If they've paid top whack to come and watch us rattle some goals past Rangers and then we put the reserves out, probably isn't going to go down particularly well. Although I would like to think, just like you and me, they're going to be quite keen to see how these boys perform at Champions League level, especially Ilunga, Oliveira, these youngsters who we've got real high hopes for. This is a game for them to get out there and show us what they're capable of. But it is 0-0 at halftime. We've not really created anything at all. Obviously, we've got a lot of firepower down on the bench. So if we do need to throw Big Kev and the likes on as the game goes on, we've got the opportunity to do that. But I mean, it doesn't really matter if we win or not. It's nice to finish top of the Champions League, but we did it last year and ended up losing in the semi-final. So if we finish third this year, I can cope with that. That's not anything that's going to stress me out, particularly Rangers. If we were to score would be in very real danger of not qualifying at all. So we're kind of doing them a favour by letting them beat us, letting them progress through to the next round. See, I'm such a nice guy. This is not acceptable, losing at home to Rangers. That I could already sense the Rangers fans in the comments section coming for me for putting the reserves out against them in the first place. So we do need to turn this around and at the very least not lose it. But I'm putting this down to just the game punishing me. Like I say, punishing me for not taking things seriously enough. Marin, lovely ball through to Oliveira. And there was two of our young, exciting players combining. And if Oliveira could have found the finish, that would have been a lovely little moment. Marin now taking the corner from this right-hand side. An in-swinger looking for the near post. Fontanils is on the end of it, which is weird because Garcia's 6'6" and is on the pitch. So I don't know why we're not aiming at Garcia. Blame the set-piece coach. Right, it's time for some substitutions. Cessped is not playing very well at all. Jude Bellingham is going to be the first man coming on the pitch. Ilunga can move out to that left-hand side. We're also going to take off Connor Egan and bring on Big Kev. And we are going to... Who else is a big hitter that we're going to bring on in this situation? I'm thinking we take off Oliveira and bring on Herrera. That is... that's three quite useful footballers coming on the pitch there. And we've got two more who are going to come on in a minute as well. If things still aren't going our way, we're going to demand more again. Come on, this. In fact, as it stands right now, we're not even in the top 8. I thought we were mathematically guaranteed top 8. This is now a disaster. I've completely ballsed up the Kev maths. This is not good. Hiskey's going to come on as well. We're also going to bring on Ruiz, and we're going to go very attacking. We, at the very least, need an equaliser. This is not okay for us to finish 9th. Get everybody forward. Come on. How are we losing to Rangers at home? We went to Barcelona and beat them. This 11 is good enough to win this football match. Bellingham now in midfield, the captain. Can he drag us into that knockout bit? I know what I mean. Is Big Kev onside here? I got distracted by the fact we've scored a goal. Just give it, ref. Come on. Big Kev's great. We don't want to have to play the playoff. Give us the goal. A draw is still enough for Rangers. For goodness sake, they don't even need to beat us. A draw is enough for them. A draw is a defeat is a disaster for us. Unless Barcelona or Liverpool can do us a favour somewhere. Oh, my word. Well, I look like a silly goose now, don't I? I'm sure we were 4 points clear of 9th going into this game. I call shenanigans. Oh, that's very frustrating. So what we've learnt there is our fringe players aren't as good as I thought they were. Brilliant. At least we've learnt it now. We now know not to do that, even if we're 3-0 up from a first leg later in the tournament. Don't do what we've just done there, because that was not okay. And now Valletti's going to Porto, and we've got to play the playoff round. Goodness sake. If you enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.